How do you do, kind folks? Slam and Skits back together again.
That's right.
Yeah, Skits is little little peeved and tired for some reason tonight. How you doing tonight, Skits?
I'm a little tired. I've been doing lots of pinball cabinet painting, spray gun cleaning. So, yeah.
Yeah. Probably very tiring work, I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot of going up and down a ladder.
Anyway, yeah, we also apparently did some fantasy football today. Finally, we did a little bit of that. Maybe there's a little not, of course, keeping the things of the details of the fantasy football secret, but maybe a vlog for a certain team that a certain person created, aka the winning team, as per usual. Slam
And
Stapleton.
all the kind folks wondering what he means vlog. And there you go.
No, I mean vlog. Maybe, but yeah. As I don't know what happens, but I don't want to toot my own horn because I might lose this year because we're on a new app for some reason. But this year, every year I've either come in first or second.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great. And last year I won money, so that's pretty dope. And I hope to do the same here.
That'd be pretty cool.
I don't know. I didn't pay to play this time, but whatever. Anyway, though, you know who else likes to gamble?
Who's that?
Not Stephen King. Oh, great transition into our podcast topic of the day, ladies and folks. And there goes the door closing. We're locking the door because we've entered the 1408 hotel room in The Shining or whatever the heck it is.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding though. I combined a couple books, but anyway. Stephen King, the man, the myth, the legend, the
person,
face of novelic horror, if you will.
Yep.
And yeah, so son, what is your experience with the one, the great Steve King?
3 of them. The Wise, it's probably 90% of it. The Mist.
The Mist.
Yes, the novella itself.
Okay, we'll get to that, but what? Okay, well, that's surprising to me. Okay. Is it the movie or the book or both?
The book.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get into that, but anyway, continue.
Remember of it. Got that, and the last being that very. I don't know. I can't remember the Langoliers. Is that the name of it? Where?
Oh yes, and we'll get to that.
The airport, and that one guy kept making me irritated for some reason.
Scaring the little girl. Yeah. Scaring the little girl, lady.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
it.
That's more than I thought. I remembered our. I think we have a commentary on the Langoliers. If we don't,
that's the only reason I know about it. So,
if we don't, then that's an issue on my fault because on my part because should have uploaded that or whatever. Anyway, though,
Yeah.
Yes, and folks, the great Stephen King, the man that can write that can publish like 1,500-page novels in a year.
Yeah.
Color shocked. Surprising. I mean,
Impressive.
Patrick Rothfuss, someone who you have absolutely no idea. He made a fantasy series called The Name of the Wind, or the Killer Chronicles, or whatever.
Also sounds right.
He wrote 2 books, and he's still writing his 3rd. It's taken forever. You can learn a thing from the great Stephen King. Also, George, the guy that needs no introduction, who owns a train, who owns like a train depot or whatever or something. He owns like a railroad company or something. Which of course Skits is like, duh, trains? Of course he does.
Yep. R.
Yeah, I mean he's got that train cap on for a reason, but anyway, I mean he can learn a thing from Stephen King. Just yeah. Anyway, though, kind folks, not bad mouthing either of them. Take your time, guys. You know, make some good work. But Stephen King, I'll tell you, this man can write the greatest novels and publish like 3 of them in a year, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It is very impressive. He's an inspiration to us all, and he's given us some of the greatest stories.
Yes.
And the reason why we're talking about this, and I bring this up, and I really pushed for it, is because of a fellow YouTuber who goes by the name of Mike's Book Reviews that I just stumbled upon while looking on looking for YouTube videos to help me write my book, which is far away from ever publishing, sort of like The Winds of Winter and Patrick Rothfuss, which I can relate to them. But anyway,
I can't. But that's you can.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, Mike's Book Reviews. I'll tell you, this guy is really good. I watch a lot of his vids. It's not a lot of editing. He just sits in front of the camera and talks, which, I mean, it's engaging. I don't have any faults with that. It's so good. So good, it doesn't really need editing. But the thing is, it's not really a caveat. It's just kind of funny. Yep. Stephen King has become, as of late, since he grew a little older, has become a author that's known to be like a older dad author. Like a lot of older dads tend to read his books these days. And Mike is not he's not crushing the stereotype, let's put it that way. He's a dad. He is a dad, so he's not really crushing the stereotype here. Yeah. Love his stuff though. Keep it up. I will continue to watch him until he gets to, I don't know, 2 billion subscribers or something. He deserves it. Yeah. But anyway, though, his love of Stephen King kind of made me think, oh, you know what? Maybe he's not that bad. Maybe I should give a couple of his books another try. And here's the thing. I haven't read everything that Stephen King's written. I've read a few things. Not entirely everything, but we'll get into it. So, I don't know if you know what the golden age of Stephen King is, son. You have any idea what that is?
Probably the 80s.
The what?
80s or 90s, maybe.
Yeah, that's going to be probably, we're going to say, from Carrie to probably the It.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
From Carrie to It. So it's like, I think his first book, which was Carrie, was released in 1977. Oh, just double check real fast. The book, well, the movie was released in 1976, so that can't be right. So let me just double check real fast. 1974. So,
well,
1974 to 1986, almost a full decade was his golden age, which is pretty it's pretty shocking. It's pretty shocking to say the least. I mean, everyone wishes they had a golden age that lasted 10 years or longer than 10 years, 12 years actually. But anyway, so we're not going to dive into every single book that Steve created, but we're just going to highlight a few of them. One of them is Carrie, like his first novel, because before this, he was through the 60s and all that. He was trying to get published in like magazines and stuff like that. And like, I think some like op-ed pieces for newspapers and whatever, that type of thing. And apparently he's tinkering with this novel called Carrie. And he was trying to throw it away because he didn't think it was that good. But his wife actually pulled it out of the trash and was like, actually, this is good. You should publish this. And he publishes it, and he published it. And yeah, it's thanks to his wife that we have Stephen King today. And Steve even made a few jokes saying like, yeah, she never lets it down either, which is kind of hilarious.
That is true.
I mean, I bet you'd never let me live it down if you pulled something out of the trash and you started my career, wouldn't you, son?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty significant, being such an event that you wouldn't expect to be significant, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
You think if he did do that, then we wouldn't have Stephen King today. We probably would have Stephen King. He probably still would be, around, but not as prevalent as he was with this.
No.
So Carrie came out, and it's kind of interesting because it's about a girl basically going through puberty in high school.
Yep.
Which it's you wouldn't think that a man would write that, but apparently he did, and it's actually, from what I'm told from others, pretty close to on par with what a lot of women tended to go through in the 70s. So I mean, there's that, I guess.
I think I saw part of the film for that.
Everyone's seen. I mean, yeah, everyone's seen the movie that. That cut scene of like her being all bloody and her just having all on fire and her just trashing the prom with her telepathy or her shining wall.
Gosh, Dolly G. Huh.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. But anyway. But yeah, why is that? So many people ask, why is this the golden age of Stephen King? It's because we have so many great works in this, section here. I mean, we have Cujo, which is basically the evil dog book. We got Christine, which I thought you would have known. I think you would have.
I've never read the book or seen the film, but I know of it.
Yeah, the evil car book. And here's the thing with Stephen King. He takes the mundane things and makes them scary, which is kind of interesting.
Like
especially, especially with the what?
Like The Mist.
Yeah, he made Mist scary.
And the supermarket, apparently.
Not the supermarket, but just Mist. Anyway, though, I mean, he takes, and it kind of gets lost in translation with some of his movies, but he takes mundane, pretty realistic things and boosts them up to 11, and it's really quite fascinating the way he does it. Like with Carrie, it's puberty. Salem's Lot, he's got some vampires or whatever. The Shining, it's a crazy, like, angry dad, how he descends into madness and all that type of thing. The Stand, it's about a pandemic killing 99% of the population and all that. And there's a reason why it's kind of come around to a lot of people these days.
Gosh.
But anyway, yeah. And that's just some of it, because his prose is also really, really good.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it, what I like about him is that he just, again, takes the mundane things or whatever. He goes into like little things that you really wouldn't care about, but it helps, helps along with the story. Like, for instance, I'm reading, it's a little, I'm currently trying to get through The Stand.
Yeah.
Because that's a long one. That's a thick one. And there's just a few things that he does that actually works. Like, for instance, there's a we're jumping ahead a little bit, but there's like this mini series of The Stand where there's a mentally handicapped person.
Oh.
And he's not really mentally handicapped. He's playing mentally handicapped. He's actually the voice actor of Patrick from SpongeBob, which is actually pretty hilarious.
That is interesting. Huh.
But anyway, he in the series, he always spells everything MOON.
Okay.
Like MOON, that spells curtain, whatever that thing is. It's just so grating and stupid.
Oh. Okay.
But in the book, there's little things. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's little things that makes it bearable. It makes it a lot better and easier to stomach. And less, grating. Let's put it that way. But anyway, yeah.
Put it that way then.
So I'm just going to read off the list here, and it's...
Go for it.
I'm not going to dive into every single one, but we'll be here forever. But anyway, we got Carrie, Salem's Lot, The Shining, Rage, which we'll talk about, The Stand, The Long Walk, The Dead Zone, Firestarter, Roadwork, Cujo, The Running Man, The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, Christine, Pet Sematary, Cycle of the Werewolf, The Talisman, Thinner, and finally, It.
Twice.
So, son.
Yeah.
Anything that you hear out of this list other than It and gravitates towards you?
Let's see. I've heard people talk about Dark Tower a lot. I'm aware that one's one of the big cult classics he did.
Yeah, that's the series where he connects all of his books.
Oh, okay, that's why. All right, so that
which we'll also get into because there's something that you will like.
Yes, the little the wise, the guest wise, I think.
Not the guest wise is, but we'll get into
it. We got Christine. Cars. Enough said. And aside from that, Carrie was strangely intriguing for some reason. I don't know why. It just kind of was. It was very he didn't, try to butter it up to make it nice and family friendly. It was very raw and this is reality.
So, yeah, that's another thing too. He doesn't shy away from the crap.
Yeah,
he kind of dives into like a lot, like the harsh truths of reality. And the weird thing is, it's not that long. His first book, it's like 200 pages, but it's really impactful. 200 pages for King is like a short story, basically. So
it's more on the misting level.
The Mist again. Oh my gosh, we'll get to The Mist.
But I'm just saying, age lengthwise, it's more of a mist than wise, and
Yeah, because it is 11:38. Wow, it's actually. Hold on, wait a second. Hang on. Oh wait, okay. So.
All right. You're right.
Okay, so. Yeah. He does a lot of interesting things. Like, for instance, there's a lot of horror in the Golden Age, but there's also some experimentation as well. Like, for instance, The Eyes of the Dragon.
Yeah.
That is a children's book. It's not it's like a children's It's sort of like The Hobbit, except, more fantastical and all that, It's like it's like all of his other work is for adults, really, but this is specifically for kids, which is kind of interesting. It's experimentation and all that, which is it's kind of pretty interesting. Also,
expect from him. So, yeah.
And a couple more things that we'll get into.
Yeah.
That I want to get your perspective on. So, in the beginning, when he was publishing all this stuff, he published it under his name, Stephen King, but he also published a few books under a pen name, I guess, called Richard Bachman. Which is interesting because he wanted to see, I guess because he wanted to see if it was his work that, was being making all these great reviews and all that type of stuff, or if it's just his name, I guess. So I don't know how many books. I haven't really dove that much into it. I think there's 4 or 5 books.
Not the
where
Mist.
He wrote under Richard Bachman.
Right.
But one of them is Rage, and here's an interesting thing. He actually pulled this from distribution fairly recently.
Oh.
You want to know why?
Why?
Oh gosh, get ready for this.
Oh golly gee.
In 1977, this book was released, and it's about a kid who does a school shooting.
Oh, that's awfully toileting.
It's quite interesting. Let's put it that way. I mean, apparently a lot of kids who have done such who have done apparently some notorious shootings, which are not good at all. They've actually quoted this book as inspiration.
Did the Columbine kids get inspired by that book? That's what I'm now curious about.
What?
Did the Columbine classic, if you will?
We can't hear you, son. You sound like you're underwater.
Did the Columbine classic get inspired by the Rage book as well?
What is that?
A certain school shooting.
Oh, I have no idea. I just know that there's a few school shootings that
there's a tie-in with that.
We're not getting into that. That's a little dark, very dark for YouTube, especially. But
yeah, that's why I was trying to avoid shooting. But hey, we were already there now. But
yeah, whatever. But we're not naming school shootings by name. I just know that they are a few of them have had this book as inspiration, apparently. And Steve was like, okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to take this book off the shelves because it's kind of become a little hectic. Which is good for him.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like the whole censoring books necessarily, but I mean, if it's this bad, then yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I guess. I haven't read it personally.
Me either.
But I don't know. Anyway, though,
what do you know?
There's also a couple funny stories behind a few of his books. Like, for instance, Pet Sematary, in his eyes, is apparently his scariest book he's ever written. Apparently there were days when he was writing this book that he couldn't even write it because it was that scary. Apparently, this book came from an idea that he had after he saved his kid from almost getting run over from a car. And it's like, how would a parent deal with the death of a kid and all that type of thing? It kind of planted a seed. Kind of planted a seed in him that kind of sprouted some really fantastic literature. Because Pet Sematary, I read the thing. It's really Cujo, he doesn't even remember writing. You know why he doesn't remember writing?
Was he high?
Oh yes. During the Golden Age, the reason why a lot of his books tend to be very, how should I put this? Outlandish?
Yeah. That's
very, very, very outlandish.
The Great Wise. Yep.
Oh yes.
The Great Wise at that.
Reason for that is because he was high off his ass the entire time. He was the entire time and all that. Like, apparently, I don't
remember.
I tried to structure these ages in specific ways. The Golden Age is after it. After the publication of it, I think he stopped. I know he stopped in like the very early 90s. But I don't know when exactly he started. But it was like between 1988 to 1991, somewhere around there where he stopped finally. Checked into rehab, stopped taking drugs, and became clean, and has been sober ever since. So good on him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, did the drugs help though with the writing? Maybe.
That I
It's up
kind
to
of
interpretation.
I have a feeling just based on that fact alone that I know what he might have been on, which I
It
won't
was it
say
was
for
it was
algorithm.
cocaine. It was coke.
Okay, so Coca-Cola
Yeah.
for the algorithms.
And you got to get closer to your mic, son. We can barely hear you.
He drank Coca-Cola for the
There,
kind folks at YouTube.
there we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, but yeah, because he was so high, he didn't even remember writing this book, which is kind of funny in hindsight. But yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
there's all that.
there is.
And let's talk about the movies or TV shows. There's not a whole lot this day and age. There is The Shining, which apparently he hates, but is
Huh.
one of the cinematic classics.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, it's very different from the book, apparently. The Shining movie takes the basic concept that you'll find in like the dust jacket or whatever, and then just goes from there, and it's absolutely
Oh,
nothing like the book.
huh.
Which I guess is the reason why he hates it.
Makes
Well, it's a
sense.
cinematic classic, so there was Carrie. He also wrote a lot of couple screenplays as well. Like for instance, Creep Show, which is also cocaine infused. If you watch it, people were smoking something. Let's put it that way,
We're snorting it for
or
that matter.
snorting it, or in people were digesting something.
It went in the bloodstream at the end of
Oh
the day.
yes, yes it did. Anyway, though, and Carrie was a great film as well. That's all that really kind of came out around this time. The stuff kind of picks up in the Silver Age. We'll get to that right now.
Ah, okay. Post-war.
So, son,
The Mist?
no, I think I no
No. No Mist yet.
no missed yet.
And I
This
don't.
is from this
Hmm.
is from the night. This is from what is it? Dark Tower 2, The Drawing of the Three in 1987, up until do 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 do.
Jump, jump.
We're gonna say Dreamcatcher.
Okay.
So, and there's a reason for that, which we'll get into post Second Age. So,
Okay.
and here we go. You ready to hear the uh the list, which is actually a lot shorter, probably
Uh,
because you ready for this?
let's do it.
Dark Tower 2, The Drawing of the Three,
Yep.
Misery, The Tommy Knockers.
That's a great title.
Oh, we'll get to that. The Dark Half, The Stand Again. This time, we'll get to that too. The Dark Three, The Wastelands, Needful Things, which is a collection of short stories, which
Okay.
includes The Shawshank Redemption, uh, this one, I think Ash something, which we'll get into as well. But anyway,
Huh.
Gerald's Game, Dolores Claiborne, Insomnia, Rose Matter, The Green Mile, Desperation, The Regulators, The Dark Tower 4, Wizard and Glass,
Oh boy.
Bag of Bones,
Um,
The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and Dreamcatcher.
okay.
Anything stand out to you, son?
I'm gonna have to judge them by the title alone for this chunk of works. obviously the Tommyknockers. That is just the most amazing, hilarious title I've ever heard of. I mean, it really ranks up there with Pennywise the Dancing Clown as a title or a name for something like that. That's so funny. The Tommyknockers. Other than that, we have uh, the Bag of Bones. That sounds like it'd be pretty epic. Just because.
So the Tommyknockers,
yes,
is actually aliens who
not
like they were hiding in under Earth, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
And they have some kind of green goo that if you put it, like if you use their green goo or something, or their green light or whatever, then they use a lot of great technology or whatever, and they make people's brains big and all that, like they're very smart, like all that type of thing. It's really bizarre, very weird. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, there's a terrible miniseries based on it. But where is... Maybe it's a short story. I was thinking about the Langoliers. I don't know where the Langoliers were. I think it's a short story. I don't remember where it is. But anyway, so a few interesting things here.
Yeah.
After about a decade of seeing what Stephen King tended to write, and then all of a sudden, a lot of people were coming to him to, make miniseries based on his books, movies based on his books again, and all that type of thing. Because they were selling like hotcakes and all that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people tended to kind of get the similarities of everything, like similarities of all his stories. Like, for instance, a lot of his stories, like basically 98% of his stories, take place in Maine, where he grew up, of course. A lot of his stories have a writer.
Yeah.
A lot of his stories have a drunk, or both. A lot of his stories have rednecks. A lot of his stories have the hypocritical Christians in there. A lot of them have the cheating, the cheater and all that. A lot of the stories have the mentally handicapped person in the story as well. A lot of his stories have The Shining, I guess, which is unexplained psychic child that just comes out of nowhere and just is psychic, just for the sake of being psychic.
I see. Yeah.
It's just a lot of similarities. A lot of similarities. Can that be good? Absolutely, it can.
It makes it a work of King.
Yes.
It's like if you were writing the books, they would be like the Stapleton Staples.
Yes.
You could think of it like that. And I think that's a good thing, personally.
I mean, there's a reason why he can push out so many books so fast. It's because he recycles a lot.
Yes.
But to be fair, a lot of his stories that he pumps out, when he gets a good one, it's great. Like, for instance, Misery.
Yeah. Wise as well.
So,
yeah,
this book is loosely inspired by the backlash that he got for his children's book.
Huh.
And it's about this author, of course, who gets in a car wreck, and this Christian woman takes him in and makes him write like another book for his famous series that he hasn't written in a while or something. And she continually breaks his legs and all that type of thing in order for him to finish writing the her version of the book and all that.
Oh,
It's kind of, yeah, it's stuff like that. That's actually pretty good. That's the stuff where, you know, the critical Christian or whatever,
yeah.
the setting taking place in Maine, that works. It works in that book.
And the wise.
Indeed. Yes, it does.
It's,
Also, what's interesting is that he re-released The Stand, but this time he added some stuff to The Stand, which is kind of interesting. It's actually growing, and he's thinking about re-releasing The Stand again, like in our modern age, but this time he's got like a I don't know, afterlog or whatever, like a prologue, but at the end of the book. It's kind of interesting.
yeah.
If he's ready for that, then I'm down for it. But you know, that's kind of interesting. Gerald's Game. That's an interesting book about
Something.
kinky sex gone wrong. It's about
boy.
this woman chained to a bed, you know,
Oh.
and then the guy, her husband, has a heart attack, falls over and dies, and she's stuck in the bed. It sounds funny, but it's actually pretty terrifying.
It's horrible.
It is.
Oh,
The stuff he thinks about.
That is something he would write. I'm not gonna lie. He would
Yeah,
write that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just little things like that, you know? I mean, he thinks of the little things, and he's like, what if someone had kinky sex and just couldn't get out of it? How would this person get, like, take care of herself or whatever, you know? It's interesting.
Yeah. How about that?
It's also interesting is The Green Mile.
The Green Mile, huh? A mile of green.
You know what this book's about?
Other than a mile of green, something
Or
about
you know what this book was interesting about this book compared to others
Yeah.
is that this one was actually published, I believe, in chapters. Like every chapter, it's a long book, but every chapter apparently was published on its own,
huh.
which is kind of interesting. And that's how a lot of novels back in the day kind of were published. They were kind of published like comic books.
Yeah, like the serial format, I think's the term.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Huck Finn, that's how that was published originally. It wasn't published in one book. It was actually published in like serial format or whatever, you know? So King kind of did that with The Green Mile, and it's actually a really great book.
Huh.
It's a long one. Not as long as some other ones that he's got, but it's a long one. Let's put it that way.
Like beyond a wise length, or
it's 400 pages apparently.
Okay,
not bad. Not bad. I mean, for King, it's a short story.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the mist, but not, not a wise.
Yeah.
Huh.
And no, Needful Things is not the book that I was thinking about. That's actually a novel. Where is that?
Good question.
Hang on, I'm just gonna quickly look. There's oh yeah, and also in the Golden Age, I forgot to include this because it wasn't in the thing. But anyway, he wrote a few nonfiction books, like this one, Danse Macabre, which is about horror fiction in print, TV, radio, film, and comics, and the influence of contemporary societal fears and anxieties of the genre. Interesting.
Huh.
Nightmares in the Sky, which is about it's a coffee table book about architectural gargoyles.
Oh, nice.
And then, yeah, in 2000, he wrote On Writing, a memoir of the craft, which is, I guess, his first book while he was recovering from his car crash, which we'll get into.
Oh, yeah.
Later on in the post crash. But where is that? Where is that thing? There's this. Oh, different seasons. Wait, is that? Hang on. That might be it. Oh, okay. So it's in 82. So it was in the Golden Age. Oh, of course. So here's another weird one.
All right.
Like, so of course everyone knows Shawshank. That's where this story comes from. This book, different seasons and all that. But there's this other short story that I really wanted to highlight. I'm not going to highlight every single short story because we'd be here a lot longer, and we all know we don't want to be here that longer, but that much longer. But there's this story called Apt Pupil. You know what this one's about, son?
The student that was very apt for an arbitrary college professor in the Northeast. That's my guess, with all the Stephenisms included. How accurate?
Close-ish. You are, so this story is about a Nazi survivor who is a Nazi but came to the US and has been living in the US ever since. And this kid who finds out that he was a Nazi and starts to get fascinated with his stories and him being a Nazi, like glorifying him being a Nazi.
Whoops.
And it actually has a good moral. It's like, if you may think I'm a monster because I'm a Nazi, but you're a real monster because you want to glorify Nazism today, you know?
Huh.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
It is. Actually.
Very, very, very interesting. It's a very fascinating story to behold, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
I've read it, actually, because it got me curious, and I've seen the movie, and it's really quite intriguing in the best ways, not in glorifying, Nazism, but like, the dangers of doing so, which is good. Anyway, though. Let's see, what else is there? There's a few more Bachman novels and all that, and there's last thing I'll mention here is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. And this is the novel where a girl prays to this really famous apparently Red Sox baseball player,
Ah,
Tom
well,
Gooden, and
should
helps her to get through her lostness in the
uh-huh.
woods, I think. I don't know, but I know that she prays to a baseball player, and that baseball player comes to her in like a ghost form or something. It's really bizarre. Apparently, King's a very big Red Sox fan.
That makes sense. Being from Maine, Boston's probably
Yeah,
closest MLB team, actually, as
he's a
far as
really he's a really big he's a really big baseball fan, which is not
I
shocking. I can
that
see
I
him as a baseball lover.
yeah, I can see him wearing the baseball hat with the glove at the stadium for some
Oh,
reason.
I bet you a
He's done it.
$1,000,000 that he has done that.
He definitely has.
He definitely has done that.
Oh yeah,
It- I would. I am 99.9999% positive that he did that.
yeah. That's quite the positivity.
Oh yes. Anyway, though,
Yeah, man.
apparently though, in 1999, I want to say Stephen King was in a car crash, and it took him a little while to recover from that
Ah,
and rehabilitate himself and all that type of thing. And the reason why I mention this is because that kind of seeps into his writing as well. Like a lot of his life stuff kind of seeps into his writing and his novels and all that. And I mean, if you're publishing a so there's he wrote two books and published two books in 2001.
yeah.
Both of them have both of them are 620 plus pages.
Wow.
If you're doing
Huh.
that, then of course something's going to happen like that. If you're going to do that, then of course your life is going to seep into your novels if you keep on writing like that. Okay, I mean it's
Yeah,
inevitable. If they're going to be
for
good,
sure.
it's inevitable.
Hard to say. Yeah.
So anyway, let's go on with this.
Yes.
So we're going to go to post crash, and actually the Silver Age. There was a lot of miniseries
Oh, yeah.
like it. That's where
Yep.
it
Heard
lands. That's where um the Langoliers, the
sure.
Tommyknockers,
Much better.
a lot of Stephen King isms come from this age. This is where he kind of was like, okay, have at it, do what you want. I know now what I need to do. It's also the miniseries for The Shining came from this too, and it is not good, but it's more faithful to the book. So I guess there's that. But anyway, though, Son, what do you have to say about the Second Age or the Silver Age of King here?
We got some very funny titles. That's really about all I got, unfortunately. I
Hmm.
mean, the Wise miniseries to me is probably the most notable thing for me personally during that era,
Yeah,
which I'll make a little special note about that at the end.
indeed, indeed. So anyway, though, we enter post crash King, which I would probably, to be less morbid, I'll call it the Bronze Age, I guess,
Ah,
because in this age there are a lot more sequels
Ah.
And there are a lot more sequels, and there are a lot more, how do I put this? There are a lot more not really focused on the scary, but more focused on the story.
Oh, I see.
It's like King has something to say,
That's a shock
so he's
factor.
saying it through this book, kind of.
Uh,
Or
More traditional writing.
yeah, or he's just writing a story because he wants to excuse me. He's just writing a story. He's writing this book because he wants to continue the story from his past novels and all that.
Ah, yes.
So here we go. Here's the list. Going from 2001 to 11/22/63, so 2011, I guess. So we have Dreamcatcher, Black House, From a Buick 8, The Dark Tower 5, The Dark Tower 6, The Dark Tower 7, The Colorado Kid. Scroll down here. Cell,
Colorado Kid.
Lacey's Story. I think that's how you pronounce it. Blaze, Duma Key, Under the Dome, and 11/22/63.
Okay.
Actually, no, we'll add on a little bit here. The Dark Tower, The Wind Through the Keyhole, Joyland, and Doctor Sleep. So, out of all these books, there's a few sequels in these few books. For instance, there's a trilogy of Dark Tower books. Black House is a sequel to The Talisman, and Doctor Sleep is actually a sequel to The Shining, as you are well aware, because I dragged you to that movie.
Which one?
Doctor Sleep.
Actually, I don't think you did.
I remember I dragged someone. I thought it was you because you hated it, or you hated the fact that I dragged you to it. I remember this. You were there. You were at the I guess we're at the Avalon or whatever. It was during when we were in college. Yeah, it's with you and McGregor and all that. It's like
I don't remember that.
Okay, I remember that. Anyway, though, this is also where his, in my opinion, weakest writing is, because Dreamcatcher is not necessarily that great of a book. But then again, he was recovering from almost fatal car accident, so there's that. Cell is just awful. It's like zombie cell phones.
Oh,
which is stupid and bizarre. Under the Dome, that actually turned into. That's actually fairly interesting. That was turned into a CBS show that ran for 3 seasons, which is kind of interesting. I've never read it myself. In fact, while it was airing, I didn't even know that was a Stephen King book. But apparently it is.
Yeah.
But then again, you do have some gems. Like, for instance, 11/22/63, I believe, is in the top 10 Stephen King books. I really enjoy that book. It is just chef's kiss all around. Also, Doctor Sleep, it's actually a great book. Even though it's a sequel, doesn't matter. It's a great book.
Huh.
Stuff like that. But yeah, and then there's not a whole lot of Stephen King adaptations, I don't think really that come to mind here. I mean, there's a few, but I don't quite remember them. But there was a movie about Dreamcatcher that was also terrible,
Ah,
which is
and
one of the reasons why I remember Dreamcatcher at all.
ah,
Anyway, though, son, you hear of the Bronze Age of Stephen King? What do you have to say on that?
um, still haven't heard anything about The Mist. I thought it had come out by this time, but I could be wrong.
No, The Mist. Wait, hold on. The Mist did come out. Let's. You really want to? I want to talk about The Mist.
It's the only other one besides the Wise that I'm familiar with.
Where?
And the Langoliers-ish. Barely.
Hang on. The Langoliers.
The angry cell phone guy.
The Langoliers is novella. Four Past Midnight. Okay, that was his first thing. He released that in the Silver Age. Okay. And The Mist. We're getting to this. There's a Mist TV series. What the heck? Okay. The Mist, based on the 1980 novella, The Mist.
I swore it was the 80s. I thought it was. Huh.
That's very interesting. I wonder why that. Oh wait, maybe it's just novella. Maybe it was only novels and not novellas. Yeah, it's only novels.
Oh, okay. That's
This
why.
is the list of just novels. Okay. Let me hang on with there. I'm going off of the stupid list on Wikipedia. So take for that what you will.
Grain of salt.
No, it's not gonna. It doesn't show up here, unfortunately.
Well, what do you know?
Dun 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 dun. But yeah, there was a lot of. But yeah, The Mist is from 1980, so yes. Would you like to talk about The Mist, son? We can talk about The Mist.
If you like stories about the kind folks getting trapped in a supermarket or a grocery store or something for a long ass time, probably multiple days, if I'm not mistaken, and then the people that dare to go outside into the mist never appear again, then check out The Mist. And I read it for a summer reading assignment because I had to pick one book for a pleasure reading book, along with the forced to read it book that you had no choice on. The Academy. So.
Indeed.
Yeah. And it had a cool like green mist cover on the front cover. And that's The Mist.
Yeah, that is The Mist. Yes, indeed. And apparently it was from what I recall, I guess it was supposed to be written in the style of like a pulpy fiction book type of deal.
Oh,
it's like in the old days, there's like these pulpy fiction fantasy book things. I think that's where that came from. I could be wrong though, but I do know the movie if it's in black and white, it's very similar to the pulpy, pulpy black and white movies of the 1950s. So,
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, there are some gems, but getting back to the Bronze Age, there are some gems. However, there are a little bit more duds. And now we get to today, 2014 to today, which is 2023. He's still publishing. And is he publishing slower to these days? Sure, ish, but he's also, still keeping up a pace, I mean, he's always published one book, a couple books, This time, it's mostly he's kind of slowed down when it came to the 2020s. Oh, wait, actually, no, he didn't. Interesting. Anyway, though, he's still publishing 1 to 2 books a year, which is more than me, and more than George, more than Rich, or I don't even know his name anymore. Anyway, though, so here's the deal with this, and the reason why I had to include this as its own separate thing. Son, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one that I'm guessing Steve's like, okay.
All right.
All right, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Folks.
What's going down with the nerds?
Anyway, though, he's like, okay, you guys. I have cemented my career. I've got more money than I could possibly ever want. I think it's time to experiment. Because now he's experimenting tremendously. Like everything he's doing is basically an experiment. I mean, of course, he's experimented with, books and, whatever else throughout his entire life. But this is the point where every novel seems like it's something new, something completely unlike Stephen King. It's kind of weird. Like, for instance, he just wrote, in this era, he wrote 2 trilogies.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of interesting. I guess they're taking place in his own little universe thing in Maine, the Maine universe.
the
main
cinematic universe. There you
go. The main cinematic, the main cinematic universe, if you will. But anyway, yeah. So,
oh man,
he has. I have not read these. I probably will, but I have not read these, so I have no idea who these trilogies are about, apparently. But there's the Bill Hodges trilogy that he wrote, who I have no idea who Bill Hodges is. I'm sorry, I'm behind in King.
What's up with him and these random one-off hilarious names for things that he just comes up with sometimes, but not consistently?
I guess it's
Stephenism.
Yeah, it's
from the
I'm guessing it's more, it might be more marketing than anything, because something that grabs your attention. What is it? You'll find out in it.
And then
Tommy knockers.
The maker of Bag of Bones.
Bag of Bones, yeah. The Tommyknockers, the Langoliers.
And Mr. Hodges. I forgot Hodges' first name, but yeah.
So let's just review what he's written in this thing here. So, Mr. Mercedes, Revival, Finders Keepers, End of Watch, Gwendy's Button Box, Sleeping Beauties, The Outsider, Elevation, The Institute, Later, Billy Summers, Gwendy's Final Task, Fairy Tale, and his most recent book that came out this year, Holly.
Okay. I have not heard of any of that.
Actually, he wrote 3 trilogies. I didn't even, of course. And
oh boy.
Actually, I think he's making his own cinematic universe with these books because every person apparently is just swarming and like interacting with different people in these books and all that type of thing. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, though, it's a lot of these things are pretty interesting. Like, for instance, Billy Summers is just a crime novel. That's it. The Outsider is okay. That's gives me nothing. Of course, The Outsider is actually, I think it's the newest one, like the newest book to get its own adaptation into the moviedom, I think. Sleeping Beauties is actually written with his son, Owen
Steve
King.
Jr.
Oh, no, Owen King. Steve Jr. Like
Owen King with the drive through the fairway. I can totally see that. It's Stephen King, the baseball fanatic. So there you go.
I think he actually started a new trilogy here. I think it's starting with Holly.
All I know is he needs to bring back the Wise somehow. Like,
so we haven't really dove into this, but he kind of did.
Oh,
with the Dark Tower, yes. Where you want to know where it came from?
One of those. Spoder Wise.
Yeah, they're interdimensional hopping spiders, giant spiders that transform into your worst fear. Yes, they're its. Yeah, and there's apparently, I haven't read this yet, but there's a part in one of the novels that like this gunslinger has to like take out like a horde of them, like a herd of its, and it's kind of hilarious.
Any of Wises?
Yeah, it's like a herd of Wises, and there's actually a dark. What?
Did they actually become the Wise though? Like that would be epic.
Yeah, they're clowns.
They do turn into Pennywise.
I think so. I would assume. Yeah,
like
they actually turn into clowns.
Just shoot all these Wises. It's like a Wiseathon.
Oh, and by the way, awesome. You want to hear this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So there was actually a movie based on the Dark Tower that's actually a sequel to the novels, which is bizarre and it's weird. I don't know. Anyway, something that I was shocked at that they went that far with. There's a part in the movie where they end up at this old and abandoned fair or carnival or something, and there's a giant there's a giant what? No, there's a giant
something
sign. I don't know what it is. Marquee. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Giant marquee that says Pennywise.
Excellent.
And there are a couple of, and you can see in the distance in the woods, you don't actually get to see a full-on view of him, which is unfortunate because it was, different movie distributors, of course. Warner Bros. Owned it. This Dark Tower was released by Sony, whatever. Anyway.
So that, yeah.
But you could see a few Pennywises walking in the woods, in the dark, in the shadow. There's like a couple of them. I was like, oh my gosh, they actually did it. They actually did it. And then...
Dark Tower is this in?
What?
Which one is this in?
This is in the Dark Tower movie.
Okay. I'll have to look into that.
I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't gotten to that point in these books, but there's...
Just want to witness it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yep. There's also a Wise that pretends to be this kid's father or whatever, transforms and all that, and then he just transforms into this, I don't know, ooze of portalness, and then he turns into a spider and he gets shot and killed.
Oh, rip it.
They don't actually mention it or Pennywise by name, which is sad, but it's Pennywise.
Come on. It's Wise, after all.
But anyway, though, yeah, that's... But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other King stuff that we can talk about. But we'll be talking about that forever, and I don't want to be talking about this forever. But yeah, it's very interesting that he's experimenting a whole lot more in these novels, and I guess making his own cinema or a novel-ish universe, I guess. Novel universe.
The MMCU, the main cinematic universe.
The KNU, the King Novel Universe.
The new, where the K is silent. It's the new.
Yeah. The new.
The new.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to say the least. Like every time now, it seems like every time he's releasing a book, if it's not since 2014, if it's not written with someone, it's sort of like within this particular another trilogy of books or something else. And it's very, very interesting to say the least. Let's put it that way. And let me see here. This is
maybe he has a little bit of a STEM side to him.
Well, nowadays, maybe. Probably because he's thinking about things more critically now.
No, maybe even all along. He's always wanting to experiment with things and, learn through trial and error and take the feedback from it.
Yeah. He also... I should take that back, actually. He doesn't actually... Not every book is a trilogy or in the trilogy. Sometimes he does write standalone books. It's very, very few, but sometimes he does write a few not necessarily trilogy book thing, whatever, like fairy tale and all that, but You know, a lot of his books these days have been trilogies or, collaborations with other novelists or something completely different like fairy tale.
Hmm.
I haven't read them yet, but I'm looking forward to it because, gotta get my hands on that king.
Oh yeah.
See where it is in all of his books. Like find all of the
Yeah.
Easter eggs of
Why?
it, of the wise in this book. Also,
And
what's
why?
interesting, last but certainly not least, in 11/22/63,
Yeah.
there is a scene where a few of the kids from it,
Yep. The Dairy Squad.
yeah,
I
not
guess.
everyone, but just I think it was the fat kid. I forget
The
who the fat kid
well,
was. Beverly.
Beverly was not the fat one.
I
That's for
know, but the fat kid and Beverly were there.
yes.
And yeah, that's basically it. There are a few interesting things too. Like there is that scene from it where I'm not gonna really talk about that, but it's kind of bizarre. But
Like a
all
lot
in
of
all, what?
yeah. The whole wise is pretty bizarre, but it's what makes it funny.
It's the last chapter that kind of makes it
Oh,
icky.
that
We're
that
we're not talking about that chapter, but
the book only part. Is that
yes, something that will never, ever, ever, ever,
not?
ever be in any
Yeah.
adaptation because it's that insane.
Not unless it was rated X.
Oh, oh
Or
yeah.
maybe a
I,
maybe R, but yet
no,
would
no, no, not R. I'll tell you, no one.
X
There are laws put in this
unrated.
country that don't allow any movie company to ever make a scene like that.
Yeah, if you really think about what's actually happening,
I get
yeah,
it, symbolism,
do that
but
legally.
I get it, symbolism and means stuff, but there's other ways that he could have written it.
Yeah, pun intended
They,
for sure.
yeah, pun intended, but there's other ways where he could have written that scene where it was a lot less creepy and weird and gross.
Let's just say they were a
We're
little.
not no, we're not even gonna. No,
That's all I'm gonna say.
that's all we're gonna say. That's way too shocking. Go read the
Yeah,
book for yourself. Keep
you
an open
want to
mind, but
really want to know.
don't. If you want to know, keep an open mind for the rest of the novel. But when you get to that, just
Uh,
prepare yourself. But anyway,
prepare myself indeed. It is something. Yeah.
though, for there's sometimes you get some troubling scenes like that in
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and a few of his other novels and all that type of stuff. But
To
all in
watch that.
all,
Yeah. Good
Stephen
stuff.
King is a fabulous author,
Yes.
even though you may think sometimes he copy and pastes certain things from other novels
Maybe.
into his book, like the Stephen King, like the I don't know, the drunk writer, it
Yep.
taking place in Maine, like the story taking place in Maine, all that crap. You may think that's lazy, but it's just how he gets the stories done, and I wouldn't have it any other way. His stories have captured the imaginations of many, many, many people, and honestly, he made us look at ourselves and kind of ask the question, what is actually being scared? What is actually scary in this world?
Yeah. Definitely explores fear a lot.
And he's done more than scare us though. He's made us laugh, he made us cry,
maybe it wasn't on purpose. I don't know. Maybe it was wrong.
Some was on purpose, some wasn't on purpose.
Yeah. The whys, I don't know. Damn, that was funny. Oh, that was.
But anyway, though, with that,
but yeah.
But anyway, with everything being said, Stephen King is a fabulous author. Hopefully, he lives for 30 more years to give us 60 more books.
That'd be cool.
60 more 1,600-page novels that we'll be reading till our dying days.
Yeah, maybe so.
Son, any last thoughts on this man, this myth, this legend, Steve?
Yes, so this is a great time to bring up my little bonus statement about the whys. So, if you want to see something hilarious, you can see my infamous YouTube parody of 90s whys. Go look up JHEND. That's Juliet Hotel Echo Niagara.
We get it. JHEND 1000.
I have to say it on the phone so many times that it's like second nature at this point. But yeah, JHEND 1000, like the number, like literally type the number, just so we're clear. And look for Pennywise meets Georgie. You're gonna have a laugh at some adolescent excitement put out there with our buddy Sasha, as we call him, and it got where I think YouTube disabled the comment section because they thought it was like childhood bullying or something, or like.
No, they did that. I didn't do it.
I know you
but
do it.
The reason why they did it is because there are children in the video. So to stop cyberbullying or the potential for cyberbullying, they disabled the comments.
I knew it was something about like bullying, and which I guess it's fair for them to say on their end. To be fair, though, in reality, I thought some of those comments were hilarious. Like, fat kid meets that's we live in too woke of a society for me to say that. FAT by the pool.
No. Don't even spell it. Anyway, though, continue with what you were saying there.
You got stuff like that. Then I responded to one of them, and it was like, "Yeah, I was pretty fat back then." LOL. He started apologizing.
Yeah, because you called him out.
I wasn't even trying to. I thought it was funny. But there you go. If you want to see something to just enjoy it for what it is. You know, we made it.
Get those views up. Get that money.
Good place. You know, it wasn't supposed to be like some really high quality parody or anything with like high tech filming equipment. We were just, we were in 7th grade, I think, and we were just having some fun. So yeah, Pennywise meets Georgie JHEND 1000, and subscribe to that if you're up for it. I don't really release much on that channel, but hey, if you want to, go for it. I would say leave a comment, but YouTube has not allowed that anymore. So, yeah, that's about it.
Nothing else about Stephen King?
Yeah, other than that, The Wise is just epic. Best fictional clown of all time, hands down. When I compare a clown Like the bar is the wise, forever and always. Stephen King, thank you for blessing us with the wise. I laughed so hard at multiple renditions of wise.
Thank you for blessing us with the wise.
Like from the you know the high of Corey Wise to the Skarsgård Wise, in the of Curry Wise. Thanks. Anyway, so The Mist, again, if you like a good short read,
we're just surprised with King.
Yes, it's a good little read there. One of the very few books that I read willingly and actually didn't mind reading. So that's something in itself. And I have never read the Book of Wise. It's just that it's too big for me to want to sit down and read it. Maybe I'll put on the audiobook one day. We'll see.
That audiobook is like 30 plus hours.
Wise aside, Dark Tower seems intriguing. May have to look into that. And then again with the hilarious titles and names, Bag of Bones, the one about the Tommies. I already forgot what that one was called. What was it?
Tommy Knockers.
Tommy Knockers. There we go. We got Tommy Knockers, Bag of Bones. It ain't English.
Bag of bones. Bag of bones.
It ain't English. So we got that, and the Bill Hudgens guy or whatever.
Bill Hodges.
Hodges, yeah, Bill Hodges. Like Bill Hodges, it's just, so yeah.
Yeah.
Go check out Stevie K.
Yeah.
All his Stephen. It's the main cinematic universe as well, the NMCU or the SKECU.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you haven't checked out King, check him out. I've read a lot of his books, and he's actually not that bad of an author.
Not at all.
And yeah, thank you to Mike's Book Reviews for this inspiration for us getting into Stephen King and kind of explaining a little bit about Stephen King and all that. But anyway, though, guys, question for you.
You kind folks.
What do you think about Stephen King? Does he rock? Does he suck? Is he only for the older dads, or is he for everybody? I would say he's for everybody.
Seen him at a Red Sox game before.
You've seen him at a Red Sox game before?
Yes.
You've seen him at a Red Sox game before?
I'm asking these kind folks.
Oh, I was going to say, have you seen him at a Red Sox game before? You might have. He's probably there. Hey, yeah. Whenever the Red Sox are playing, he's probably there. He's probably there with his computer in hand, just typing away. Writing his 7 pages a day and watching the Red Sox and all that. What do you guys think? Comment, let us know, subscribe, ring that bell. More pods come your way, and hey, take care, guys.
Bye-bye.